This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
I don't know why, but I think the Browns are going to beat the Bengals this Sunday. Maybe it's because the Browns have such a good record against the Cincinnati Bengals in the last 4 years. Maybe it's because the Browns have not lost a game at home to the Cincinnati Bengals in quite some time. I believe the last time it happened, I was in college, which was a very long time ago. Maybe it's all of those things just making me overcompetent in a Browns team that has not played at a level that really deserves the usual Bengals overconfidence. But it's not the first time we've been in this exact same spot with a underperforming Browns team playing the Cincinnati Bengals, right? The Browns played the Bengals when they got rid of Odell Beckham, and Baker Mayfield was in the midst of his worst season, well, second worst season as a pro. His worst season was the year after, where he jumped around 3 different teams. But he was in the midst of that season, the labrum season. It looked like it was all about as bad as possible, and then Odell goes, and for 1 week, we actually believed that all the problems for the Browns offense were Odell Beckham's fault, and that we fixed everything, and that we're actually going to go on a run here with Baker Mayfield for the rest of the season. Now, obviously that didn't happen, but what did happen was that the Browns got it together for one day and beat a Bengals team down that went on to go to the Super Bowl that year. The NFL is random, and just when you think you have the answers, the NFL changes the questions. This is just how it works. The Bengals are a team with a bad run defense. The Browns are a team that's returning 2 running backs and possibly 1 more offensive lineman to be as healthy on the line of scrimmage as they've been all year. The Bengals have had inconsistent success on offense. The Browns have had inconsistent success on defense. It wouldn't surprise me if this is one of those weeks where the Bengals offense doesn't show up like you think it would, and the Browns defense shows up like you hoped it would at the beginning of the season. Remember, the Browns are a matchup problem for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals like to get a lot of empty. They have run more 12 personnel as of late. They put more tight ends out there, but they're not the most protective team when it comes to the quarterback. The Browns have Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has been a problem for the Cincinnati Bengals throughout his career, no matter what left tackle they have thrown at him. It's been Lael Collins, it's been Jonah Williams, it's been Orlando Brown. They've all been victims in the graveyard to Myles Garrett, especially in October, especially in Cleveland. If there's going to be a game that's going to be an outlier, if there's going to be a game that's going to be a random spark of hope for the Cleveland Browns in the middle of this season, this is it. A Bengals game in Cleveland in the month of October. I mean, usually that combination has gone very well for the Cleveland Browns, especially when we're talking about the recent history of the Cleveland Browns. And let me be clear on this. I don't care what they did with like Tim Couch or Kelly Holcomb or Charlie Fry as the quarterback, or in those eras. We're talking about when Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb were on the Browns at the same time, and they play the Bengals, and they play the Bengals at home, especially in October, but just at home in general. It's usually a good day. And the Browns have Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett, active, healthy, gonna play versus the Bengals in October at home. It has not mattered who the quarterback has been. The Browns have won this game with multiple different quarterbacks over the years. Baker Mayfield, I believe Case Keenum was in one time and they beat the Bengals. I believe that was just with Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb. It was like at the end of the year. We seen Jacoby Brissett win this game. I believe Deshaun Watson has even won the home game versus the Bengals, right? I think he did it last year in the season opener. This is a game that the Browns can win. It's a division game, so you have to imagine it's going to be a lot closer. Hopefully you see this team show some juice that they haven't showed yet all season, and maybe they'll have that juice because they're going to have that extra energy from this being the return of Nick Chubb, somebody they thought high enough of to give him a standing applause when he returned to do media availability. That's how much respect they have for Nick Chubb. That's how much love they have for Nick Chubb. Hell, Nick Chubb getting injured in the middle of last season might have been the thing that rallied this team together, unfortunately, to have the season that they did last year. The return of Nick Chubb could have similar effects because Nick Chubb is the leader of the offense, the same way that Myles Garrett is the leader of the defense. That's just the level of player that Nick Chubb is. I did a video earlier when people were doubting the effectiveness of Nick Chubb or if Nick Chubb can come in and do anything about this. And look, I don't expect Nick Chubb to carry this team to a undefeated record for the rest of the year and the Browns to go win the Super Bowl behind Nick Chubb. But what I do think can happen is that Nick Chubb can carry this team to playing a much stronger half of football for the rest of the season. But what I do think is possible is that Nick Chubb can anchor an offense that can help carry this team to a much, much more respectable finish to the season than they've started to this season, right? Because Nick Chubb gives you an identity on offense. The offense is going to go through Nick Chubb. The offense is going to go through the run game. Remember, Nick Chubb's not the only one coming back. Naheem Hines is coming back from injury as well this week. The Browns have 4 running backs that they can feel comfortable giving the ball to in this game. 5 if Jerome Ford is healthy. So they're going to give the ball to the running backs. They're going to run this ball. Their offensive line, possibly getting Ethan Posick back. They're getting Jed Wills and Jack Conklin back for the second time this season, and they're going to play like their second game in a row for the first time this season. So they're actually getting healthier. So that's good news there. Michael Dunn gets to play his more rightful position at guard, which I thought he put up a good fight there at guard, even if when he had to play center at times last week. So I'm excited about that. I think this offensive line will be a lot better because they're simply just a lot more healthy than they have been in the last few weeks. And I think the more you minimize the pass game, the more you'll get out the pass game. I think last week was a great example of it. The Browns didn't lean on the pass game heavy. They only threw the ball, I believe, 24 times with Deshaun Watson. And they got the same production that they've been getting with Deshaun Watson the last 6 weeks. I think this just might be the rule we have to live with however long Deshaun Watson's out there. And we're going to have to assume it's going to be the case with whoever takes over for Deshaun if he gets benched or suspended. And that is, you're probably going to get like 180 yards of passing. If you throw the ball 40 times, you're going to get 180 yards of passing. If you throw the ball 20 times, you're going to get 180 yards of passing. And it's a lot better to get 180 yards of passing when you're throwing the ball 24 times than when you're doing it 44 times, right? That's been the big problem, is the massive inefficiency in the pass game that the Browns have had. Well, if you have a run game that teams believe in and teams really try to key in to stop, you make Deshaun Watson's life easy because you don't ask Deshaun to full field read. You don't ask Deshaun to sit and empty and make things happen. You're simply asking Deshaun to throw to the open man. And as bad as Deshaun has been, he should be able to throw to the open man. A lot of his production in the last half of that game, again, against the Philadelphia Eagles, that a lot of his fans are excited about. I mean, just look what happened in that game. The Browns were able to run the ball with success, and then all of a sudden you had wide open wide receivers that Deshaun Watson was able to find because they were wide open because the run game was having success. That's all you have to do. The less you throw, the better your pass game is going to be. The less you throw, the better your offense is going to be. Minimize the impact of the quarterback position. Play it like you're playing a rookie or an inexperienced guy or a guy you're not sure of. So many of the Browns' problems have stemmed from the fact that they're treating Deshaun Watson like a franchise quarterback still. He is not. That's just the cold, hard truth of it. Nobody with any credibility is going to tell you that Deshaun's playing at a franchise quarterback level because he simply has not done that consistently throughout 2024. So you can't scheme a game plan together with that in mind. You just got to play like you know your quarterback's not that good, which means you run the ball a lot, which means you do a lot of play action, which means you get a lot of trickery to get stuff open in the pass game, and you simply just don't rely on it. I think they can get away with that on offense, especially versus the Cincinnati Bengals team that has proven to be very poor on defense. I think there's a chance that the Browns can win this game. They have actual leadership on offense now with Nick Chubb returning. They have leadership on defense like they've always had with Myles Garrett being there. And more importantly, they have a belief that something can happen offensively on defense and on offense that they didn't have before. Maybe Amari Cooper was a big leech to the whole morale of this offense, right? Maybe he had such a bad attitude about it that it was dragging his team down. I don't believe that to be the case, but even if that is, okay, now you got guys in there getting a new opportunity. Maybe Jamari Thrash gets a couple targets this week. I know a lot of people have wanted that to happen. Either way, the Browns are in a position to sneak one off here against a Bengals team that's also been struggling. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals have one more win than the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Browns defense is coming off of one of their more complete performances of the year. Obviously didn't do a great job in that final drive, but I thought for most of that game, the Browns defense gave this team a chance to win and even scored points to make that the case. So that's where I'm at with this game. I think the Browns can beat the Bengals. I think there's a good chance that they do it. Let me know where you guys are in this game. Do you think the Browns have a chance to win? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.